closed for your camera. That's typically the error message I get when I have my actual camera cover on my laptop. So you want to maybe check that.
No, actually, I have a brand new computer that they were just installing right before I logged in. So, and the camera is not covered, but I'm gonna see what's going on if they have it disabled or something.
Okay, we can.
Yeah.
Great. So we are recording this session. So if you're asking to have it recorded, no need to worry about that. And with that, I will go ahead and turn things over to Anne Marie.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen so that you can see, a couple of slides that we have that we tend to share with our new students. And then I'll also jump in and show you kind of like what the portal looks like really quick. So as I said before, my name is Anne Marie Murray. I'm the director of the Student Accounts Office. Some schools might refer to my office as the bursar office. So, we're kind of interchangeable. Here at Montclair, we go by student accounts. So my office is responsible for, issuing the semester bill, collecting payment. We collect the deposits. We manage the student health insurance program, payment plans for paying the bill. If there's any overpayments, we also issue, the refunds. So I'm going to probably go through this a little fast. As I said, it's recorded, so you can always go back to, listen through. But here at Montclair, we only issue our student bills via email. So we email them out. So the first email, we will send you like a nice fancy little email to let you know that they're out there. And then they're sent to you on the 1st and the 15th. All of our emails go to your Montclair issued email account only. You can set that up to forward it to another personal email, but we do recommend that you view your Montclair issued email account because it is the official email account that we use to communicate with you. So we just emailed out the fall invoices on Sunday. So if you were registered as of Sunday, you would have received your statement. And then Monday morning, we sent out our nice little email that explains the different payment options, where to go to if you have any questions. We will continue to send those statements out on the 1st and the 15th of every month throughout the semester. Even if your bill is paid in full, we will send it to you. My recommendation is that you look at it in case anything on your account has changed, because that is our notification to you to let you know that what the current state of your bill is. We have a very robust website that lists, payment due dates, when late fees will be applied, like all of our information we put out on our website. So if you do have a question, and if you're trying to call into the call center or you're having trouble, getting through to somebody right away, you might want to just check our website to see, you might find the answer there. So I'm going to show you a sample of a semester bill. This is of an undergraduate student, a domestic student, because they have federal aid on the account. But you will see each, your tuition and fees will be itemized on your invoice on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side would be any payments that you have made. It could be through the payment plan, a check payment, credit card payment, cash payment, or if there is any loan that you apply for that you may be eligible for, it'll all be itemized on your statement, giving you then a balance due. So where can you find your statements? They're available to you in Nest. So this is like a screenshot of Nest, and you can see on the left, there's a student accounts tab. You want to click on the student accounts tab. And then within there are portlets. Each little red box is considered a portlet. We have them for refunding, paying your bill, accessing your bill. So I'll go down to the next slide. You'll find one that says pay my bill. So when you go in here, you can see this statement and payment history. That is a link that will bring you to those statements that we email to you on the 1st and the 15th. So you don't have to keep track of each email. The PDFs are also stored in Nest, so you can access them at any time. So you would use this link if you wanted to pay your bill online. We have, you can pay in person at our cashier office. We take cash and check, in person only. All credit card payments have to be made online. That includes debit card, anything that's coming through our credit card merchant. The merchant does charge a convenience fee of 2.95%. So if you can avoid paying by credit card, we definitely recommend. It will save you some money. And let's see, you can enroll in a payment plan. So within the TouchNet portal, once you select to make my payment, you can either make a payment or enroll in a payment plan. So both options are listed in there. If you're just making a one-time payment, you would select the make a payment right here on the left. If you wanted to enroll in a payment plan, you would select the other option. The portal will let you know what the balance on the account is. To make the payment, it'll calculate it for you. The same with the payment plans. Let's see. And through the portal, you can, it's like I said, it's either credit card. You can also pay by e-check. There is no fee to pay by e-check. You can use a personal checking account or savings account, and you would enter the routing numbers of that bank account, checking or savings, within the portal to make the payment. It cannot be a third party or like a business account. It has to be a personal bank account. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a 2.95% convenience fee on any credit card payments. Okay, so our payment plan is dynamic. There is a $30 enrollment fee. It's a per semester one-time fee. When you enroll in the plan, it will calculate your monthly installment based on the plan that you select. We have a 5-payment, a 4, and a 3-payment installment plan. So you can either break the semester out into 5 equal payments, 4 equal, or 3. Your due date for each installment is based on your enrollment day. So if you sign up for your payment plan today, for the 5-pay on August 8th, your following installments will be due the 8th of each month: September, October, November, and December for each of the payments. You will get an email confirmation when you've enrolled in the payment plan, and you will get a reminder to make the next installment each month. You can also set it up so that it auto pays, like you can save your account information within the payment portal, and it will automatically withdraw the funds from your bank account as each installment is due. That is an option. It's not a requirement. So when you're setting up your payment plan, make sure if that is not something you want to do, that you pay close attention that is the case. If there are any changes to your account, the payment plans recalculate nightly. So you would get a new email. For example, that you enroll in a payment plan now, but you apply for a loan. If that loan's not ready now, but it comes in and is applied to your account in 3 weeks, the payment plan would automatically then add in that loan to your record, and it would recalculate. If you no longer needed the payment plan because that loan covered the balance in full, it would cancel the remaining installments on the plan automatically. Something else I was going to say about the payment plans, but I can't remember. So again, as I mentioned, we offer the 5, 4, and 3. 5-payment plan is only available through August 31st. And then your choices remaining would be the 4 or the 3-payment installments. Let's see. This is information about. Okay, so you can, in person, as I said, pay by cash, check, or money order. You can also mail in a check payment if you wanted to mail in a payment. Our address is, and information is on the statement that we send out. Let's see, refunds. So we run refunds once a week. The fall semester refunds, we will not start processing until about the 4th week of the semester. Aid will not start dispersing usually until after the drop add period. And then we have like a 2-week window where we review the accounts to make sure that the student is still eligible for the refund before we actually push the refunds. Our recommendation is that you sign up for direct deposit. That is something you can also do within the portal. That is the fastest way for you to get any refund. If you're expecting a refund because you've applied for a loan. You will have the money into your account usually within 3 business days of us running the refund process. If you choose not to set up direct deposit, we will process a paper check. That is done by our bank. We would send the file once a week out to our bank. They will print that check off site and mail it from there. So there is no opportunity to pick it up on campus. They are all mailed. Again, I strongly encourage you to sign up for direct deposit if there's the potential for a refund. Okay, so health insurance. It's probably a lot of questions on health insurance. Our health insurance plan runs from August 15th, 2023 to August 14th, 2024. So it's good for the full year. The premium is $2,611. It is applied to all full-time students, undergrad and grad. If as an international student, you are automatically enrolled in the insurance program, if you feel you have a comparable insurance plan that meets the minimum requirements, you need to reach out to University Health Plans. They are our broker. They will work with you on seeing if you're eligible for a waiver. You do not have access to submit the online waiver. The online waiver is only for our domestic students. So on this slide, we have their telephone number is 833-251-1705. You can also email them at info@univhealthplans.com. I think I have another slide in here with a link to, so this is the actual UHP student health insurance website. You can link to it from our website. So if you go to the student accounts page on the university website, we do have a link for student health insurance. A lot of this information is applicable both to you, but the actual online waiver is not. It lists down here that you have to contact UHP directly. The deadline to waive out is September 18th. So even as an international student, if you're interested in trying to see if you can opt out of the health insurance, make sure you reach out to UHP prior to then. If you want to know what is covered under the benefit information, it lists a summary of benefits based on the university plan. So the most important things with the student insurance is to make sure that you meet the deadline if you're eligible for a waiver. General questions about your bill, if you think there's something missing or something is wrong, Red Hawk Central is our one-stop. They are there to assist you with, level 1 questions regarding your bill, really regarding anything financial aid, registrar, or student accounts related. If they are unable to address your question or concern, and they need to escalate it to one of the departments, they will create a ticket that'll be sent to the respective offices that we would then respond back and close out that ticket. So I think I've covered a lot of information. I guess I'll pass the baton over to Chandra. And if there's any other questions, I guess I'll stay on and field them there. Does that sound good, Heather?
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Students, if you wouldn't mind, again, just please holding off on your questions until the end. We will have a Q&A at the end here. Anne-Marie, if I could ask you just 2 quick questions, because I know there are 2 very important ones that keep coming up again and again. I know the posted date that you would like to have payments received is, I believe, August 14th. However, is the final date that a student who's not on a payment plan could make a payment without getting penalized a late fee?
So if you're a dorm student, you can't move in unless your bill is paid. So I don't know if any of you are living on campus. So you will be required to have the bill paid or enrolled in a payment plan to be able to move on campus. Usually the late fee is not assessed until like the first week of November. We are probably going to stick with that timeline for this semester, but we are looking to move that date forward in future semesters. So again, that information will always be published each semester on our website. We will not do it before November 1st this semester. But I just don't want you to think that that's going to stay. That's kind of really late in my opinion, but that's the way we've historically done it. So we want you to, address your bill as early as possible. But you won't be penalized until, early November unless you're a dorm student.
Perfect. Yep. So just to reiterate to everybody, we do have a handful of dorming students here. So if you are dorming, you do need to go ahead and set up a payment plan immediately. If you want to move in on time or just do the full payment now. If you're an off-campus student, which is the majority of you, if you want to do the 5 payment plan, you need to set that up now because that's the deadline for the 5 payment one is coming up. But you do not, if you're not going to do a payment plan, you have a little leeway in which to pay the bill. So some students say, can I wait to pay until after I have my visa appointment or until after I get here? And the answer to that is yes. And again, please hold off on questions until the end of the session.
I would like to add one thing, Heather.
Yep.
If you were, once you're registered, you're responsible for that bill. So if for some reason you do not come, because the semester doesn't start for a couple of weeks, it is your responsibility to make sure that you drop those classes so that that bill will be canceled before the semester starts.
Perfect. Yep, exactly. And we have been posting that information on our WhatsApp as well. So that is very important. Second question, Anne Marie, because this does come up a lot as well. Students who currently have either if they're freshmen, they have a presidential scholarship, or if they're a graduate student or a PhD student who has a graduate assistantship, those are not currently reflected on the bill, I don't believe. When would those appear on the bill?
So grad assists, we usually don't get the file from the graduate school until after the drop add period because they want to make sure that the classes are finalized before they send it over to us to apply the payment. So you're probably looking about the 3rd week of the semester at the very earliest, every semester. Another thing I'd like to add is if you're a student with a grad assist and you're getting 24 credits for the year, and you don't use up those 24 credits during the fall and spring semester, and you want to use the remaining credits in the summer, I believe it is available that you can do that, but you have to actually apply and notify the grad school. They don't keep track. So if you end up registering for the summer and you're looking, I'll never get you on a summer list if you don't reach out to the grad school and let them know that you're using your remaining credits in the summer. So I did notice that was an issue this past summer for some of our students. As for the internal scholarships, that usually will appear on your bill if you have done all the steps required for the scholarship and you meet the enrollment criteria. So if your scholarship requires you to be a full-time student and you're not done registering, your scholarship won't appear until you do finish registering. And then it would take like at least a 24-hour process for the system to update the aid to make it reflective.
Great. Thank you so much, Anne Marie.
Mhm.
With that, go ahead. We'd like to have Chandra go ahead and speak about the loan process because we know there's a lot of questions in that regard.
Okay. Yes. Hi. So sorry. I apologize for not being able to show my camera. I literally just had IT walk out before I logged in. And I also, because my computer crashed, just threw some slides together very quickly because I did not have any slides again. So I was just putting a couple things together and I looked at some things that I've had received as questions. And I think I want to just speak to what Anne Marie was saying about the bill being paid. And it's really important to note that pending loan. So if we certify a loan and it shows on our system, it actually counts as paying the bill temporarily until it finally disperses. So it doesn't have to fully disperse for your bill to be considered paid. There will come a time when it will no longer be pending. So when we start to expect real money to come in, if you didn't sign the paperwork with your lender, you will have an issue. But I just want to make sure that you don't think that you have to pay the bill if you have a loan that's already posted on our system. So I just want to clarify that. The other thing, I just wanted to cover really quickly that there are loans that financial aid certifies and loans that financial aid doesn't certify. And basically, the reason for that is financial aid is processing and pushing through certain loans, and other lenders are sending wire transfers directly to student accounts as a payment, and they just process differently. So we certify the loans that we actually process through our system. And in essence, that means that loans that are US based are typically the ones that come to us through Elm Select. Even if you go directly to a lender and you borrow through them, they'll still send it to us through Elm. Those we do process and certify. Lenders who you obtain in your home country or somewhere outside of the US, they are typically wire transfer lenders. So we don't certify those because we're not processing them. So I just wanted to make sure that you were clear on that too. And that comes down to who to send different types of requests and who to reach out to. And so the rule of thumb is that we're not the ones that do the international loans that are borrowed in your home country. Okay. That would be the registrar and student accounts that would put those together, because they would be setting up wire transfers. The other thing is that when you get a loan that is certified through financial aid, so now we're back to the domestic US based loans, we actually wait for enrollment on these private loans, and there are reasons for that. So I know that sometimes we receive certification requests months in advance and we can't process them, or we don't do anything. We're actually waiting for enrollment. And the reason is that things can happen, and we don't want to send a request to a lender to get money started or have them process what they're going to disperse if you end up not being here. So we like to see enrollment, even though it's not a guarantee, but it also gives us a budget that we can work off of, even if it's estimated and not the final budget. And it also gives us some assurance that if we're receiving money, we have a record to tie it to. So the other thing is that the loans, like I said, they apply as pending to bills. So if you do have a loan and it's pending, you don't need to also pay the bill prior to move-in. Now, if you are living in housing and you're paying rent off campus, you do need to have funds in your pocket to cover those first months of rent. Because as Anne Marie had pointed out, we're not processing disbursements until after add drop is over, and we're sure that you're still here, because students, they come and go all the time, or they come here and decide they're not going to come to the school. So we don't process those until after the add drop period is over, and the refunds follow after that. So if you are anticipating that you're going to need to pay for rent or other things, then you're going to need to have those first months covered on your own before the school year starts. The other thing is that we can't disperse earlier than the semester. I know that some private lenders, you may go to them and you say you want an earlier date, and that doesn't mean that we can process it. We're just not set up to process funds for somebody until we already have confirmed enrollment. And that's just a regulation that we follow. The other thing is that loans take about a month to process. So once we do certify the loan, which may be a month after we receive a certification or longer if you're not registered, it does take about a month, because we have to send that to the lender. The lender processes it with paperwork. They send it to you, you sign off on it. And there are actual laws in place that prevent them from just processing it really quickly. There's actually waiting periods built into the regulations, and they legally have to pause and have that waiting period so that you can let them know you don't want the money. So I just want to let you know that too, that even if you come in late and you do a loan now, let's say, and we get it in August, there isn't a way for us to process that earlier than September at that point, or if you come mid-semester, that, just so you know that. The other thing to be aware of when you're getting a private loan, and it's not on the slide, is that many lenders, not all, but many, especially for students who are international students do require that you're meeting a satisfactory academic progress standard. And so that means that you have to maintain, if you're a grad student, a 3.0 GPA without withdrawing from a lot of classes, because there's also a progression rule built in, and undergrads is a 2.0. So just be aware of that as well. And if you do receive any notification from satisfactory academic progress, you do need to reach out to them and appeal if you have one of the loans that requires it, because we still have to hold that standard to a private lender that asks for the GPA information. The other thing is that we do post loans here at this time of year on our system, but we don't send it out to your lender yet. And I would have started sending them out already, but my computer crashed. But we usually, anyway, regardless, wait until after bills are posted. And that's just so that if suddenly you see your bill is higher than you thought it was going to be, you have a chance to appeal to us. You have a few days where you can say, hey, wait a minute, that's not enough, because the bill is more than I thought it was going to be, or more than you thought it was going to be. And I need this reviewed. And we have a little wiggle room, because once we send that loan to the lender, that's it. They'll make you apply for a second loan if you need more funding. So there's reasons that we do that. It's not going to impact when it disperses, because at this point, we're still well within the limits of dispersing at the end of add drop. You can appeal the amount that we certify. And so there's a process for that. So let's say you find a place to rent and it's costing you $2,000 a month. I hope not. But let's just say that happens and you say, well, this isn't going to cover it. You can actually submit an appeal. And so we'll look for proof from you for the different types of things that you ask for, but you can submit a request. So there's a cost of attendance reevaluation with some loans, with some private loans, we do send that out to you automatically, and you can complete it and return it to us with the documentation that we ask for. Or you can say, hey, wait a minute, I didn't have a place then, I didn't care, but you can come back to us before we send that certification to the lender and ask us to make an adjustment. So housing and rent would be something that would be allowable. Supplies, if you need a computer, if you don't have a receipt of a computer that you've purchased for the semester or for the year, we will use an automatic amount, and that's at $1,500, so $1,500 that we would add on for that. And but we would need a request for that. The other thing is, if you have any special dietary restrictions that require that you cannot eat the food, or any medical disability that requires additional care, we can also look at our budgets. We do factor some of those things into our budgets automatically, but if there's some very special restriction and you realize it's costing you a lot more, you can increase it. The only thing is that if we've already certified your loan and you realize this mid-semester, then you'll have to get another loan for that, because we'll increase it, but it won't do anything. The other thing to note is that if you have a grad assistantship, if you're a graduate student with a grad assistantship, and we have to reduce your loan, you can appeal at that point saying, well, I need both. And that would be another time that you could do a cost of attendance reevaluation where that might actually benefit you if you are asking for additional loan funding. We don't want you to borrow more, but if you must borrow more, that is in place. Okay, the contact. I prefer that you email loans@montclair.edu and not my personal email. I do check loans myself along with other counselors in our group. And so it's more reliable for making sure that I or a counselor sees it. And if you send it to my email, I receive tons and tons and tons of things every day. I may not get to it because I have a lot of emails. So at loans, I always look at it. So if it's a loan related question or there's an issue with a loan, I'm actually going to see it more quickly if you email loans@Montclair. So I'd prefer you do that, and only send it to one location, because if somebody else sees it in loans and they think it needs to be brought to my attention, they'll contact me, and it doesn't need to be duplicated. So loans would be the best email to contact. If you need a person, you can contact Red Hawk Central. And if they feel it needs to be escalated, they can't help you with it, then they will have you set up with a counselor on duty or someone who could talk to you then. And they may reach out to me if it's a severe issue, but most of the things that you need can be handled at the level of Red Hawk Central and a counselor. Okay. So I'm sure you have questions. And so I'll just hold off until we're at that point. That's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Sandra. Anne Marie, if I could bother you for just one additional question that I know is going to come up. Students are always interested in about paying via wire transfer, and I had a few students ask me this morning whether we work with Flywire. I know we work with Pay My Tuition, but could you go ahead and explain to the group what Pay My Tuition is and how to use that?
Yeah, so I realized after I passed it on to Chandra that I forgot to mention that's kind of important. I'm going to share my screen because I'm going to show you through our student portal how you can access it. There's two ways you can access the information to pay through Pay My Tuition. So Pay My Tuition is very similar to Flywire. It's another company that Montclair chose to go with. When you're in, so I'm logged into my portal right now in Nest. So I clicked on the student accounts tab, and as you can see, this is just, the health insurance information. On the right is the payment information for the upcoming year, view my bill, pay my bill, as I'd mentioned earlier, information about installment plans, refunds. Here you'd go for the direct deposit, but if I keep scrolling down, I get to the international Pay My Tuition. So Pay My Tuition is linked with our system. So you would be accessing your actual, account information to, pay your bill. It knows your account. It's in many languages. There's also instructions in many languages. But you also can select different currencies. So you do not have to necessarily make your tuition payment in the currency of your home country. If you have restrictions that you can't, send your dollars to the US, or you might be able to use a different international currency to make the exchange through Pay My Tuition, and they will still then end up paying us in US dollars. The benefit to the students is that there's no wires coming into our bank that we don't know who they belong to, because your information will be connected with the payment. You can track the payment through the Pay My Tuition portal. We can see payments that you've initiated but haven't been finalized. You can select, what currency you want to make the payment in, and the cost to submitting your payment through Pay My Tuition is usually significantly cheaper than just trying to wire or ACH funds from your personal bank, because the banks usually charge pretty high fees. And it takes the guesswork out of knowing how much you need to, to pay when you're paying your bill. So you could just, go right into the link. If you click on the link in your portal, it'll bring you to the Pay My Tuition site. It's also available, so you can select your country, that you want to pay from, how much. So that's it's really, really easy. Again, you can connect to it through Nest or through our website. So that's all on Pay My Tuition.
Great, thank you, Anne Marie. So with that, I'll go ahead and invite everyone to post your questions. Please, again, just post a question one time. Get really confusing for us if you post it multiple times. And I'm going to start just right at the top here, and we're going to try to just zoom through as many questions as we can.
Heather, can I also add to? Please, we're only answering questions regarding to this session. Billing, payment, loans, we are insurance. We're not talking about your classes. We're not talking about your visa, your orientation, housing, only if it has to do with the billing part of it. Okay, so the other questions will be skipped right over for this session.
Great, thank you, Adrienne. So Andres is asking, what's the fee if we pay by credit card or debit card? Anne-Marie can correct me if I'm wrong. It's just a normal convenience fee that you'd be charged by a credit card company.
2.95% of the amount you're paying. So the minimum is $3. So if you're trying to make, like a $10 payment, the minimum fee is $3, and then it's 2.95% of your payment. So it can be pretty pricey if you're paying, a full semester bill.
Yep, avoid it if you can. Sumayana is asking, classes are not yet registered, how to pay for fees. Very simply, if you're not registered for classes and you're living off campus, there are no fees to pay because you're not registered for anything. So we have nothing to bill you for. So you will only receive a bill once you actually are registered if you are an off-campus student.
So what I would like to add to that is once you register, you will be able to see your charges reflected in Nest. We're not scheduled to push another bill out until the 15th. So you don't have to wait until the 15th to see what your charges are because they are available to you in Nest.
Prabjot saying, where's the agreement schedule? I'm assuming you're speaking about the payment plan agreement schedule. Anne Marie, where would they see that?
It's emailed to them once they enroll in the payment plan.
Perfect. Yep, so
Because
just log on and enroll.
Yeah.
How to contact UHP?
Their information is on our website. Their phone number, I have it here. Why am I contact information? So UHP is 833-251-1705 for waiver, enrollment, eligibility, and benefit questions.
In Caparti, you should be able to also just Google that and type in Montclair State University insurance waiver, and that is the first page that comes up because I've tried that multiple times. If you can't find it, just go ahead and post in our WhatsApp later today, and I'll give you the link for that. Thamon one, I'm waiting for the answer as to whether or not my insurance is eligible for a waiver or not. In this case, can I pay my tuition and other fees except for the insurance firsthand? The answer to that would be yes.
But you're still responsible for that insurance until the waiver is approved. So even though you don't pay for it, that doesn't remove your obligation to that insurance premium until the waiver is approved.
Perfect. We have two questions that are the same here. I am on an H4 visa, so not a true international student, but in our terms, but on a working visa. My husband is having the insurance, which includes all the family. Can I do a waiver of the insurance?
It sounds like you probably will. I'm not an expert on insurance coverage wise, so reach out to UHP and work with them. Yeah, so Anavinda and Manogna, who's had the same question, just follow the same instructions for under the international student section, where you have to just directly contact with the university health plan and submit the information. And if it is a US plan, there may be a chance that it would be eligible for waiver, Right.
but you need to contact directly with them. Yeah. Fung is asking, what are the minimum requirements for health insurance? I'm assuming if you're speaking about a waiver, Fung, generally speaking, it has to be the plan has to meet the requirements that the university's plan covers, which is quite a high threshold. So generally speaking, things like international student-specific insurances are not sufficient for coverage. But if you have a plan in mind, again, you can contact UHP and see whether or not they would consider that for a waiver. But generally speaking, as a general rule of thumb, if you are an international student on an F visa, you don't currently have an international insurance plan, you're not, here already in the US, generally speaking, the advice is take the university's plan that provides the best coverage, the full coverage, and then you're not stuck potentially paying for two plans if your plan is not accepted. So That's the best rule of thumb. Pranay is saying the university sent an invoice regarding the fee payment, which had the last date to pay as August 14th. Again, Anne Marie had noted there's not a late fee assessed until later. So ideally you should pay by August 14th, or at least set up a payment plan by then. But there's no penalty if you don't pay by the 14th. So there's a little bit of leeway. We understand many of you are getting visa appointments still, and you don't want to pay for full tuition until you know whether or not you have a visa. So there is a little bit of leeway. But again, if you want the 5 payment plan, you should enroll in that right away. We have an immunization question. Again, Mohammed, you can ping us separately for that. Where can we find the college ID for fee payments? Anne Marie, I believe everything is basically using the CWID. Is that correct? It's not the net ID.
That is correct. I mean, they would log into Nest using their net ID. They don't have to enter their CWID for anything.
Yep, I think the CWID would probably only.
But that's
need
how
to be
we track.
enforced.
If you're going to mail in a payment, then then include CWID information. Yes, that's how we access the account.
And if you
Heather,
are using Pay My Tuition, you do need to use your CWID. And on Pay My Tuition, you have to enter the letter M before the CWID. So M like Montclair, and then the number.
Heather, real quick, going back to Mohammed's question, Anne
Yeah.
Marie, the question is, do you, when is the insurance become available? When
The
can they
insurance
start using
is
their
already
insurance?
available if they'll get a welcome email from Aetna that'll tell them how to download the insurance card. But the coverage goes back to August 15th, sorry, it starts the 15th.
Starts the 15th. Okay, so to
August
Mohammed's
15th
question is, yeah, is the insurance available now? Would be August 15th.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
I don't know the date that they're sending out that welcome card. So if you have a need, you can reach out to them ahead of time. They might be able to push it out to you earlier.
Krishida is asking, Anne Marie, this is also for you. I haven't yet received my visa. So if I pay all my fees now and my visa is rejected, can I get it refunded?
The answer is yes. The classes all have to be dropped within the first week of school. So I think the deadline is September 5th is the last day to drop to get 100% canceled on it. And if you're not in the country, I strongly encourage you to put in your direct deposit information so that we can then send your payment back to you electronically. Because otherwise it's a paper check that I don't know if you'll be able to cash or deposit.
And again, if you are in the situation where you don't even have the visa yet, again, that August 14th deadline, there is flexibility on that. So it may be easier in your case to just wait to make a payment or just set up a payment plan now, rather than making a full payment and trying to get it refunded, which could be tricky.
Well, the payment plan does require a down payment when you're signing up. So they might even want to wait until they know for sure.
Kapoka is saying, I'm a graduate student with a scholarship that covers tuition fee for the session, and still the bill has been sent to my mail with the tuition fees. What should I do?
They should reach out to Red Hawk Central, who can then review the account to see if there's any steps that are missing to get the scholarship finalized. And if there's not, and it's still outstanding, they'll escalate it up through the financial aid office to see, because, you know, it's admissions, I think, and financial aid that work hand in hand in signing those scholarships.
Yeah, but I know in some cases with the graduate assistantships, it can take a little while traditionally to
Right, so that's not a scholarship. That's that's done completely separate. That'll never be on the bill before the semester starts. The grad assist will always post after drop ad.
Perfect. So in that case, should the student make a payment or just make a payment of what they know they owe after the scholarship, or what should their course of action be?
If they're a dorm student, since they're the one who's really impacted by this, if they show us a copy of the scholarship award notice, we can note the account to then, make sure that they get a Hawk Pass to be able to check into the dorm without any issues, and they would just then have to pay the difference. If they're not a dorm student, then they can just reach out to Red Hawk to get it reconciled. They can make a partial payment if they want. They don't have to.
Perfect. Fomenza's asking, this sort of related, it's about prerequisite courses, how you're charged for prerequisite. It's not recorded as part of the main program. Are you still going to be charged the master's rate? Assuming you're talking about like computer science or IT related programs, the prerequisite courses are billed at the same rate as the regular graduate courses. So there is no difference with that. This may be either Chandra or Anne Marie. I have a question regarding the loan. This bill shows my MPAR loan around $23K, whereas I filled up a pre-certification for $45K, and the offer from NPower also around $45K. So Chandra, I think that might be
That's
you.
me. Yeah, so by regulation, we actually divide loans up for a semester because loans and borrowing and financial aid are tied to enrollment. So if you apply for a loan for 45,000, we're not giving you the full 45,000 up front. We're dividing that out into what budget we're able to apply to you for fall. Fall is a slightly larger budget because it includes the health insurance automatically in it, and the spring does not include it. So when we divide it up, you'll see 23,000 approximately pending for fall, and then the remaining amount pending will show up as pending next semester for spring. And that is a federal regulation. And because if we give you the money up front and you don't return in the spring, or you lose eligibility for some reason, we actually will come down and try to track the money back from you. So it's for better for you, and that we do it divided up that way.
Thank you, Chandra. Zane is asking, there's a $200 difference in the bill posted on Nest and the one sent through email. I'm just going to take a stab. If you're saying $200, I'm assuming you're a graduate student. It may be to do with your deposits, but that we wouldn't be able to really guess. So if you do think there's an issue, you can reach out to the Red Hawk Central, and they can take a look at that. But unless you disagree, Anne Marie, that sounds like a very round number to me, so that would be my guess.
It does sound that it does sound like that's what it could be, but Red Hawk would be able to confirm.
So Anne Marie Moralika, who I was speaking to yesterday, she's an undergraduate student who's going to be living on campus. She does have a freshman presidential scholarship, and she did pay both her tuition, her $225 tuition enrollment deposit, and her housing deposit. Neither the housing nor the tuition nor the scholarship are yet appearing as credits on the bill.
She should reach out to Red Hawk. But if she has copies of the scholarship award, we can note that and she can pay the difference. Deposits should be out there.
I put the link to Red Hawk Central in the chat for everybody.
Perfect. Thank you, Adrian. Yeah, so Moralika, we can check with Red Hawk Central just to see, to make sure that they're there. I'm going to mess up your name badly. I'm sorry. Ituna Luba. Can you do a payment plan and pay via Pay My Tuition? That's a good question.
No. So Pay My Tuition is one-time payments. It's not a payment plan. And our payment plans require you to make your payments through Nest online, not through any other source, but just through the payment plan gateway.
Sylvia's asking, do you provide tuition invoices? The answer is yes, you can just access that. Do they also get a notification on their email when an invoice is ready, Anne Marie?
On the 1st and the 15th, yes, we push out an email with the invoice attached.
Tejas Sweeney, I think this is going to be a Chandra question. I've taken an educational loan, so I need to send them a mail, which is sent by the college. I've already received the mail for payment, but I have dropped one of the classes. Will you resend me a mail saying the total amount again? So I guess his bill has changed since the time he's gotten the certification.
Okay, is the loan certification a loan that we're certifying, or is it a loan from your home country where they're doing a wire payment?
It's more than likely, I'm going to guess it's the latter.
Okay, so if it's a wire payment that is coming through the updates to the charges, Anne Marie, would you be sending that out? Or is the student just downloading that out of the Nest portal and sending it again?
If they
like
need
wire
something for us to
transfer?
sign off on, we can do it. But if they don't need anything for us to sign, just a copy of an invoice, they can just pull it off of Nest, the one we email out, and send that.
Okay.
Has the bill been updated? It's reflecting the lesser number of credits now, where it would be on Nest. Yes, so yeah, so if it is there and it's on Nest, it's just if they need it signed off on, or they don't need it signed off on it, they just need a
Right.
copy of the bill, you should be able to
Right.
get that.
And if the bill changes, like since we just sent out one on Sunday, and if your bill has changed since then and you need a new one, we can ad hoc refresh and send you a new one. And that request should come in through Red Hawk Central.
Great. Sejal is asking, is the payment plan enrollment fee of $30, is that applicable for the entire duration of the course, or do you have to pay that every semester? And that's every semester, I believe. Is that correct?
Well, it's every semester that you enroll in a payment plan. So you don't have to, you can do a payment plan this fall and then choose a different payment method in the spring. So each semester that you choose to use the payment plan as your method of payment, the $30 fee is applicable.
Anne Marie, if I'm using Pay My Tuition and I pay by my debit card, will there be any charge? I think that depends. I think you'd probably just need to check either with Pay My Tuition has excellent customer service people. So I might check with them. Instead of paying by debit card, which is linked to your bank, you might be able to just do a direct bank transfer that might not have a fee. So I'd probably talk to the Pay My Tuition folks and just try to avoid the fees that way. If I choose to pay by e-check, the current savings or checking account, can that be from my home country?
I do not think you can do that through the portal. You would have to do that through Pay My Tuition.
And Amber, do you accept bank drafts from foreign banks? So if they issue a sort of an international bank draft in lieu of a check, would that be acceptable?
Yes.
Perfect.
They usually have to have a US bank information on it to be able to deposit it. So it can be like, the Bank of India, but it'd be drawn on a US bank.
Perfect. Yep. Is there Tejas is asking, a 2.95 fee for credit card, or excuse me, debit card payment on a payment plan, or is the fee only for credit cards? If I opt for a payment plan, then can I pay using checks? So basically, how do you pay a payment plan payment?
You can pay a payment plan. You can pay by credit card, debit card, or an electronic check. There is the convenience fee is applicable to all credit card and debit card payments through the payment portal, whether it's through the payment plan or a one-time payment. So my recommendation would be to use your e-check information to avoid that fee.
Great. And I know Anne Marie and Chandra, I know we're running a little over time here. Do you guys have a few more minutes to try to get through some of these, or do you have other engagements?
I can
I
stay.
I have more time, I can stay.
Okay, perfect. Yep, I know that there's a ton of questions about this, so sometimes it's easier just to try to answer them all at once. So Rumdazi is asking, my tuition is being paid through Empower. Do I need to enroll in a payment plan since the disbursements will be made later on?
No, and that's what I was saying earlier. The pending aid will post against your account. You may even see a negative balance because it's going to pay more than what's actually being charged to you. So no, you don't need to make a payment. In fact, if you try to make a payment and the loan is pending, it won't let you because it will say you don't have a balance.
Great. Bluebird, I think we might need a further discussion with you. It says, if I am planning to switch to part-time, should I disregard paying the bill till the process is over? Adrian, you might want that one.
Yes, we definitely will have to have a larger conversation. As an F1 student, you must always be full-time. You can never be part-time unless there are certain, medical reasons, and that would be an issue later on down the line. So if there's something that you're unclear about being full-time, please reach out to us immediately so we can clarify that before you arrive. But you must always, as an international student on an F1 or J1 visa, you must always be a full-time student.
Thanks, Adrian. Anne-Marie Shuvik is asking a question that actually came up a few times yesterday as well. We've got a few MS Business Analytics students, which is one tuition rate, saying that their bill is showing a separate tuition rate for the MS Digital Marketing or MS HR Analytics.
So those three programs are all charged the same rate. So the School of Business did start, they use special coding, like a cohort code, and that's what I use to actually assess the bills. And they started using one code for all the programs. So I'll have a conversation with them to see, we may go to a generic MS Analytics and not put business, digital, or human resources on it at all. They actually made this change last week when I was trying to push out the bills. So it was very last minute. But your rate is still accurate because it's the same for all three programs. So it doesn't mean they're in the wrong program. It's just that they're using the one code for all three programs. And we had it already tied to the digital and human resource. So it's just a description. I will talk to them about making it better.
Perfect. Yep. So long story short, you can proceed with paying whatever you need to pay. It's just a discrepancy in the name. So the bill is fine. Just proceed with whatever you're going to do with that. Here's a loaded question again. Itunual Lua. Since the payment deadline is the 14th, does that mean I have to register for a payment plan and pay my deposit before then? Number one, if you haven't paid your deposit, it means you can't register for classes. So if you haven't registered for classes, you won't have a bill. So there's nothing.
The system will not let you pay if there is no bill.
Yep. So there's nothing essentially for you to pay. If you, by deposit, you mean pay an initial installment, for example, of a payment plan. Again, you do want to sign up if you plan to take a payment plan, especially the 5 payment plan, that you need to sign up for immediately. As soon as you're coming here, whatever, that's the time to go ahead and clear your bill, or again, sign up for the payment plan. If you are a student who, for example, has a visa appointment next week and you need to wait a little bit, just realize you may have to take a shorter payment plan if you don't register for that initially. You could do the 3 or the 4 payments. But again, we do give a grace period for payments. So if you're not registering for a payment plan and you need to wait a couple weeks, you could go ahead and do that. But again, paid sooner rather than later. Chandra, this is you. Pre-certification form had 15 credits, but I dropped a course and now it's 12 credits. I updated that in the form and sent it back again. Is that all I need to do?
It is if you want less. I have a feeling that the budgets with the adjustments that were made, there's a little wiggle room. So you will likely be able to still retain the same amount that you have. But if you want it to be less, we're more than happy to reduce it before we send it out. And just so you know, we're sending them out this week because the bills were just posted recently. Now is the time when we would start sending it out to Empower. So we've put them all in our system, and I see people asking about certification. We've certified them for all effective purposes. We just haven't sent them to the lender where they'll be finalized. Okay, so yes, if you want less, please let us know you want less. We're more than happy to make it less.
This is either Adrian and or Anne Marie. Is there any difference in insurance costs for exchange students attending only for one semester?
If the student is not starting until the spring, yeah, the premium would be $16.12 as opposed to the $26.11.
What if it's an exchange student starting for this fall who's going to stop out in December?
We would need to get a list to adjust those students.
Yep. So they would be sort of prorated.
We can prorate it for just the fall, but we'd have to get something from your department to know who they are.
Jesse's asking, loans will take a month after the visa issuance to be certified. Visa issuance doesn't have to do with loans particularly, but Chandra, do you want to speak to the time?
The timing would be based on, it wouldn't take that long because once we put it on our system, it's showing. So even if the payment doesn't come through, the disbursement doesn't come through until later, if we receive the certification and we see that you're registered and you get the form to fill out and return it to us, just return it to us and then we can put it on our system. And once it's there, it shows against the bill. So it doesn't, it counts as a payment, basically.
Great. Anne Marie, if a relative is paying for my tuition, does that mean it's a third-party payment?
No, that we don't try. Third-party payment would be more if you have like a sponsorship, like Fulbright or something that we have to send an itemized invoice to a third party on your behalf, and they'll pay us directly. If you just have somebody paying your bill for you, we would not treat that as a third party.
Great. And Chelsea's asking, will health insurance be included in the bill? If not, where would I make the payment? That is just automatically included in the bill unless you're waived from it. So nothing there.
Right. Once you're full-time. So if you're only partially registered, you might not see it.
And if I received an award, I'm not sure whether we're speaking about a GA or a scholarship. If it's a GA, again, it's not going to appear until add drop, as Anne Marie had noted. I have a private message from Brahmini. If I take 12 credits instead of 9 credits as a graduate student, are the fees the same? They're not. No, undergraduate students have a flat rate tuition where it's essentially the same from 12 to 18 credits. Graduate students do not. Graduate students pay per credit. So if you are taking 9 credits, you pay X amount. If you're taking 12, you pay more than that. Levin's asking where international students can take loans out, for example, for the spring semester. Because you're international, you can't, you don't qualify for loans through like the US government, for example. So generally speaking, most international students have private loans, most of which are taken out in the home country using, your parents or grandparents or whatever as, sort of backers to that. You can only take private loans in the US if you have a US citizen or a green card holder who is willing to co-sign a loan for you.
I'll just preface, there's a couple of lenders that are basing it on GPA standards and other program standards that are not necessarily requiring a co-signer that's US based, but most of the lenders, most of the preferred lenders, and we don't prefer, but I would say most of the lenders with better interest rates, let's just say, that they will require a co-signer, but there are some loans out there that don't. We recommend using elmselect.com to review which lenders are out there.
Thank you, Shannon. Oh, so this is a good question. Lawi saying, my loan has been approved and it's awaiting certification. Why must I still pay the commitment fee of $200? What happens when the loan is fully dispersed? Again, if you haven't paid the commitment fee of $200, it means you can't register for classes. If you can't register for classes, then there's no way to certify a loan, because we have to essentially guarantee that, you know, you're taking classes before we'll issue you, you know, money for this. So so you do have to be registered for classes in order for anything to proceed.
Yeah, the deposit is separate from financial aid. We don't use it for that. If you do receive a loan for a greater amount than your bill, then you'll get a refund, and that amount would be refunded back to you, but you do need to front the deposit.
Correct. Yep. But we know the university is not going to sign off on a loan for you unless you are in fact actually enrolled here and taking classes. So we're not just going to sign that, okay, yes, you can have $50,000 and run away with that money. So that we have to certify in order to say that you are in fact a student here. Let me see. If I choose to have health insurance of my own, can it be from my home country? Again, our recommendation is to just go ahead with the university's policy. Chances of having an outside policy approved are very, very slim. But if you do want to check with that, you can contact the UHP to see if that qualifies. Probjot's asking, can I pay the fee on a monthly basis? Again, Anne Marie already mentioned that. You can set up a payment plan where you can pay via 3, 4, or 5 installments. Some of these are repeated. So Raby saying, I registered for 4 classes. I dropped a class 2 days before. The bill was already generated, but I still see the bill for 4 subjects in Nest. Again, allow it a little time to update, but if it appears you've already contacted Red Hawk Central, so that's all you need to do. Anne Marie, do students have to pay by Pay My Tuition, or can we directly pay using our international debit cards?
Not required. It's just one of the options available to you.
Yep. Trying to skim here just for we have a couple more minutes left. Chandra, if I take a $16,000 loan disbursement, will I be able to get more if I need?
Okay, so if you need more than that, and we've already sent it to the lender, you're going to need to get another loan again through the lender, and it'll be 2 separate loans. So the best thing to do is, if you need an increase, let us know right away with that cost of attendance reevaluation form, so that we can see if we have a justification for increasing your budget and therefore increasing your loan. So if you do have a request like that, you want to get it to us right away before we send that out to the lender.
Thank you. Nestlehand's asking whether or not we accept CVS, Aetna, or Horizon Health Insurance companies. Which one do we accept? Again, with the health insurance, our recommendation is to go ahead and take the university policy. It's probably very unlikely that you're going to find anything comparable in terms of coverage and cost if you're trying to find it on your own. Again, if you want to try for a waiver, you would have to contact our health insurance carrier directly to see whether or not that is possible. The question is also about the payment plans. So it says bills are due on the 14th of August. However, this student is interested in doing the 5 installment payments. Currently, the fee divided into 5 installments is due on August 31st. So do we have to pay by August 14th, or do we pay by August 31st?
The 31st is the last day to enroll in that 5 pay. So you can wait until the 31st, except if you're a dorm student.
Yep. So again,
so
just
on September 1st, 5 pay is no longer an option available.
Yeah, so again, just remember the university is flexible, so don't panic about the August 14th date. But the sooner you get everything cleared, the better. But there is again some flexibility with that. Quick skim. Adrian, do you see any ones that are not repeats here?
No.
I see. Oh, I see one
What is
about an
that?
Empower loan.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to cancel an Empower loan or cancel a semester, let us know right away so that we can send that certification right to the lender the way that you want it to be sent. So it's easier for us to never certify the spring than for us to go back and cancel it. So if you want that, let us know right away through loans. The other one, let me see something.
Amory, I've got one for you.
I saw two. Go ahead.
So, Anne Marie, what is this commuter dining deposit, and do we have to pay it?
The commuter dining deposit is for all undergraduate full-time students who are taking at least one class on campus. So my guess is any of you who are undergrad students are all full-time and taking at least one class on campus. You're being charged the $250 to encourage you really to use the meal plan facilities offered on campus. And to further encourage you to do that, the university is offering a $50 bonus. So you're only paying $250, but you're going to get to spend $300 on campus towards the meal plan. And it's to get you to test it out to see if you like it. And then if you do, you may want to, purchase a larger meal plan for the convenience of eating on campus. They're calling it a deposit because it's a pilot program. This is our first year doing it. If you do not spend the money at the end of the year, it will be refunded. Only the $250 per semester, not the $300. The $50 free money that you're getting, you can't access it until you spend the $250 that's on your account. So it is part of your bill. You will need to pay the bill in order to be able to see your grades at the end of the semester. But if you choose not to use it, it will be refunded, but not until the end of the school year. I hope that explains it. I did see one other question out there. It was asking if the statement invoice that you received was for the whole year. It is not. It is just for the fall semester. We will invoice the spring semester late November, early December, once you are registered for spring. And that'll have a separate due date.
And that kind of touches on one other that I saw here. A student was indicating that the classes were full. So how to pay the bill in that case. Again, you have to think of it like you're essentially, if you're out shopping for something and you want to walk out the store, you're not going to be charged when you walk out the store if your hands are empty and you haven't purchased anything. If you have a shopping cart full of items and then try to leave the store, they're going to stop you and make you pay for it. So you can only be charged for things that, in this case, that you're actually registered for classes. You can't register for spring classes right now, which is why we can't generate a spring bill. If you can't register for fall classes right now because the classes are full, then you won't have a fall bill. In the case of the classes being full, please go ahead and reach out to your GPC, your graduate program coordinator. If you have any issue contacting them, please let us know. If you're on our WhatsApp group, we could respond there, or just send us an email at global@montclair.edu, and we'll be happy to help you with that. With that, I'm afraid we normally get through all of the questions in these sessions, but there are just too many. But I do think we've covered sort of the bigger themes of the questions here. So if you do have questions further in this regard, you can, of course, reach out to Red Hawk Central for further assistance. With that, I would like to sincerely thank both Chandra and Anne Marie for joining us at this session today and for your valuable time. And yeah, please do let us know how we can further assist. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian.
Bye,
Bye,
thanks.
everyone.
Bye.